Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to another episode of the Automation Campaign, where in the last episode we have made the fastest hatchback in the world. Crazy. It is ridiculously fast. We ended up having a turbo variant with 250 horsepower going through a 5-speed manual gearbox to all four wheels. It's an absolute monster, and I genuinely can't wait to see how that car sells. But to round out our lineup, we need one more car. And I mean, we have a family car, we have a sports or supercar, we have a hatchback. The only thing that's missing now is something big and comfy. But before we go on and make our final, I want to say final vehicle of our lineup for the time being, we are going to facelift the Remote, so it releases in a similar time period as the other vehicles, so that this car stays updated, and that once the other cars start selling, they're all on the same sort of technical timeline. So let me get to updating this vehicle, and I'll be with you guys shortly. Okay, and after a bit of fiddling around with the car, I've managed to get it to a place where I'm relatively happy with the outcome. It looks sleek, it looks modern for the time. It is definitely an evolution from the vehicle that we've had before. And yeah, I mean, I'm just really I'm happy with the way that this car turned out. I think the rear looks a lot more, I want to say, modern for the time, because we had a very boxy rear end. I feel like these sort of swooping tail lights really make the rear end work a lot better than they did before. But yeah, the only thing left to do now is to make the other two variants and then put this up for sale. And don't worry, I made a special turbo version as well, so you don't need to worry about there not being... Oh, I've just realised something messed up. I'm going to have to copy this over. But I did make a very nice special version of the turbo, which I think looks amazing, with the splitter on the front, the rear wing, the little side skirt at the back, and this... Well, it's not a crazy diffuser, but it's a diffuser. And I think it does look good. It really does suit the car very well, and the special rims with the big brakes. And I mean, it is just a pure performance vehicle. This it has the same engine as the hatchback, the 250 horsepower engine. But I think the big selling point is actually the cornering on this car. It's got over 1G of cornering, which is absolutely crazy, because 1G, that's a lot for a standard road car. So this is really a... I mean, I could probably get a little more if I actually tune this on the suspension. Oh yeah. Oh, this would be interesting. So we could actually get more cornering out of this vehicle. Maybe we could get sportiness exactly to where we want it to be. I completely forgot to edit this actually when I was doing the design phase of this car. I completely forgot to edit the camber on the suspension. And so this is the closest I can get it. So it's about... Oh, well, it's a lot sportier than I expected it to be. I think it's going to sell even better now in the sport demographs, considering it has that much more... It has 0.06 more G cornering just from the camber alone, which is crazy. So I can't wait to see how this car performs out on the road. So yeah, let's put it up for sale and start designing our luxury, well, I don't want to know if it's a luxury, but a premium vehicle, premium big vehicle. And so, what I want to target is about 36 months in engineering time. That's 3 years in which the first generation of the, well, the pre-facelift of this remote can do its work. So that's where I'm going to aim. So we're going to do a little bit more work, and I think that's actually where we're going to be about. I think we could actually increase the spending a little bit. And perfect, exactly 36 months, that's where we want it. And I think for the next generation vehicles, we'll facelift this engine one more time, and then we'll consider making our own variant of the engine, new or completely new variant of the engine. So what we're going to do is we have the, well, we only have this factory, so yes, because we filled the other factory with the grid. That, oh no, wait, we filled it with the snab. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense. So realistically, we want to make a new factory, but I don't have the money for that. So we're going to have to use this factory for the time being, and if we make enough money with the cars that we're now making, that way we can open some more factories, and we can have that alternating factory per facelift per vehicle, which would be very interesting to make work, because that means we can always sell the pre-facelift at a reduced cost to the facelift and still make money from both the vehicles, theoretically. So yeah, let's have a look here. So the shifts are going to be about the same. Actually, we're gonna keep this about the same. Profits are looking very good on this vehicle, so I hope people actually will want to buy it. The retooling cost 69.1 million, and yeah, I mean, what we could theoretically do is make a bigger factory, but then we put too much stress onto the engine factory again, and we just can't afford to do that right now. So we're gonna have to slowly think about getting a new engine factory up and running alongside this one, maybe even a huge one, like the biggest size engine factory we can possibly make, so we can just keep up with the supply and demand of the engines. And yeah, this is amazing. All I'm seeing here is profit. 600 million in the first year, 800, another 800. Is that only 200 million extra profit in the second year? So apparently in the second year we would make less profit on this vehicle. But then afterwards it would just be an exponential thing of just another 800 million, another 900 million, another 500. It's just, it's always going to go up and down. So this is going to be an ongoing thing. Hopefully the market does like the vehicle and actually wants to buy the vehicle. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to put this car up for sale, and because it's a facelift, it's not going to be very much. So we definitely don't need a loan, especially 140 million. We definitely don't need a loan. So let's sign off on this project. 36 months time we will have the facelifted remote, and yeah. And as for the base of this vehicle, the SUV, by the way, I forgot to say it's an SUV, but it will be an SUV. Yeah, for the base platform of this vehicle, we're going to go with this body. We're going to go with a front longitudinal engine, so it'll be an all-wheel drive vehicle, because we want to cover that utilitarian and that off-road segment, which we haven't got a single car in yet. So this is going to be that car to try and get a little bit of that segment in to try and see if we can get a little bit of profit out of those segments. But yeah, I think this should be a very good platform to work with. We're going to use a mixture of the 6-cylinder and the 4-cylinder. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the 6-cylinder, the most powerful 6-cylinder non-turbo, so it has 225 horsepower, and we're going to use the 4-cylinder and probably make a front-wheel drive model. I don't think we can make a front-wheel drive model, but we could definitely make a rear-wheel drive model with the 4-cylinder. So that's exactly what we're going to do. But for this one, we're going to do a 4x4 with a. Do we do automatic? I'm tempted to say we do manual for the time being, just to see how that goes, and if they like the idea of having a manual, then we'll do it. But if an automatic is better for off-road situations, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to have an automatic locking diff, because we want some comfort, and automatic locking diffs are exactly what we need for off-road. I mean, manual diffs are better, but okay, they're better in every single way. So you know what, we're going to do a manual locking diff. I thought automatic diff would be better actually, because then you don't have to manually lock the diffs. But I guess it's just a push of a button, so it won't be that hard. But yeah, so we're going to do a manual diff, a locking diff. We're going to do radial all-terrain tyres that are 205 wide, 18 inches way too big. I think 17 inch should be good. The problem is the tyres are going to be huge compared to the actual vehicle, but I guess this will do for the time being. I'll sort out the gap in a little bit. But we're going to go with vented brakes in the front for the time being. I guess just 2 pistons. I need to see what the braking performance is actually like to see if we want to improve that at all. But yeah, we're going to go with more of a comfort style pad because this is supposed to be a comfortable car. We're going to go with an off-road skid tray. So this car is going to be very heavily catered to that off-road segment. And I think we're going to have 2 full seats in the back as well, preferably ones that would fold down in the real world, but sadly we can't get that to work in the game. We're going to do standard for the time being, like we've done with every other car, but like I said, I would really like to try and see if we can get this company to be more of a premium-focused manufacturer from the Izukani company, which this is a vehicle from. So yeah, we're going to go with a hydraulic ball with traction control and ABS. I guess we'll do it standard 80 safety, and then for the facelift we'll do 90 safety. We'll go with progressive suspension, adaptive dampers like we have done with all our other vehicles, and for the time being a normal suspension preset. And utility hates this. What sort of demographics are enjoying this? So all of them actually have a decent desirability. It's just the demographic match is a bit of an issue. But yeah, I think we could definitely make something of this vehicle, and I'm going to design it now. So I'll be back with you guys shortly. And here we are working on the final car to round out our lineup, and honestly I think has to be one of my favourite ones. It's a bit of a different one. It's a luxury SUV, but it just suits the style. It suits the design focus of this company so well. You could genuinely believe that this was a real production vehicle. I can't believe how well this turned out in the end, because we have a supercar with this styling and now we have an SUV with this styling. It's just the differences between those two vehicles, yet somehow it works on both of them, and I'm super happy with the way that the design of this vehicle turned out. But yeah, once again, really long time lapse because I spent much longer designing this vehicle than I probably should have done, but yeah, I mean, it worked out in the end. I'm very happy with the design of the vehicle, and yeah, I mean, if you guys are as well, I'd be happy to hear what you have to say about the car. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to put another timestamp in at the bottom because this is another 6-7 minute time lapse, but yeah, I mean, you guys can watch if you want to, or you can skip to the point which I'm about to put in the below again. But yeah, I hope you guys do enjoy this time lapse. If you do watch it, I hope you definitely enjoy the vehicle, and yeah, I'll see you guys once the time lapse is finished. And here it is. After quite a severe amount of work, I've managed to get the vehicle done, and I absolutely love it. Because this design, this is the 5th episode I've been using this design on our vehicles, and I think I've now mastered this sort of design with the grille and these vertical lines here, and then the horizontal. I feel like it just works so well. I'm really happy with it. Interior wise, from an outside perspective it looks really good. From an inside perspective, I like to think it looks pretty good as well. I've forgotten pedals, I'm going to put them in a second. But yeah, I think it looks really good from the inside as well. The rear end also has taken a step up. I've decided, just to make this car a little bit more interesting, to have a hinge basically. It doesn't open vertically, it opens to the side. And I think it looks alright. It's an interesting concept which I thought could maybe work for this vehicle. But yeah, let me pour in those pedals, let me make the 4-cylinder, and then we'll put the car up for sale. Okay, and here we have the two vehicles. Now it's time to put them up for sale, and as always I'm going to try and target a 48-month total engineering time period. I think that is still that perfect optimum where we can build in some really good reliability, but still have the car be competitive when it releases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a reliability of 70. I'm going to optimize the process for the vehicle a little bit. But I'm also going to automate a lot. So I think this is the best way I think to sell a lot of vehicles is to increase automation, because with the optimization you're going to be paying less per model for the materials. And the automation just means you can make more of the vehicle, so you're making more for cheaper. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to reduce some of the costs I'm going to put in the car, so that way we can have, let's say we do 65 months there you go. So we're paying 82.5 million in engineering costs, 48 months in total engineering, but we produce a lot of vehicles for about $6,200, which is really good because we are considering to sell this car for at least double that. So I'm very happy with those numbers. Now the only thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to build a new factory. And yes, this is going to take a lot of money from us, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a large plot again, and I'm going to do a large, let's do a large one, see how that goes. So in terms of engines, the 6-cylinder is being heavily overworked, the 4-cylinder as well, which is not ideal. But I think we can live with that, and at the moment we're producing over 10,000 cars with a large one factory from, oh my, wow. I mean, no wonder the engine factories are being overworked, so we're going to have to consider making a bigger factory for our 6-cylinder. But yeah, so we're going to do that same sort of target shifts and everything, and because the factory won't be done until 48 months time, we can increase quality, and we can reduce wages, which is, I mean, it's sad, but we sort of have to do it if we want to produce more cars for cheaper. So we're producing about almost 11,000 cars for an average price of about $7,000, which I can definitely live with, considering we're going to try and sell the car for about $15,000 to $17,000. I think that's the sort of good price point for this car, as it does have a premium interior. But I think, yeah, it'll work the way that I think it'll work that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase automation, we're going to increase tooling, and increase the QA threshold a little bit. And that way we can once again produce more cars for cheaper and still have them be a good quality. So I'm going to complete the design on this factory now. It's going to be quite expensive. I didn't look how expensive it would be, but I think we can live with the price that with that price. But turns out making a single car costs 11,000. So what we're going to do is we are going to do, the advantage will be, actually we'll do it on percentages. So we're going to do 25% first. Oh, that's 15%. We're going to do 25% first on both the vehicles, and we're going to see where that lands. And that way we can then see where we sort of want to have our pricing be. And 13,000 to 12 to 13,000, which means we make a 25% profit per vehicle we sell, which we can see here is making us some money. But what happens if we do a 50%? That way it'll be 16.6 thousand and 14.8 thousand, and that way we should be able to see some decent profit, as their interiors and their quality should really sell themselves. And yeah, I mean, it's a stable cash flow. It's not huge amounts of money, but it's a stable income. It's not fluctuating too much, which honestly I will take. So what we're going to do, we're going to do 16,500. We're going to do 15,000 for this vehicle. I think that's what. Oh, that's 150,000. I think that's sort of where we want. I think that's sort of where we want to sell this car at. So yeah, I'm really happy with the way that this has come out. So 3.9 billion in the end, but it's a stable 3.9 billion. So once we facelift this vehicle, we could potentially put in better safety, maybe improve the suspension or the gearbox, and that way we will have a much better, much more sellable vehicle, and we'll try and keep the price somewhat similar to what it is now, and that way we can sell, well, more cars. So yeah, let's sign off on this project. And it's going to cost 800 million. And you know what? I'm actually going to take a loan out for this. It's not going to be a huge loan. I'm going to take an 80% loan, and we're going to pay it back at about 10 million per month. Because I'm worried that with the other three projects going alongside each other, and only having one vehicle currently trying to sustain us, that we are going to lose a lot of money very quickly when the other two factories start to be produced or to be built. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a small loan, and we're going to try and boost ourselves just enough so that when the other two projects are done, they can make us money and we can easily repay this loan. So we're going to sign off on this. Beautiful. And yeah, let's fast forward the time and we'll see where we land. And this factory, so the car factory 2, which I believe is making the Snap, or one of the two, is, yeah, experiencing some higher costs, which we can easily pay. 31.2 million, we'll just pay it out of pocket. And now the engineering for 3 different things is completed. So the engine is completed, the grid has been completed, and the Snap has been completed. And this marks the entrance of our high-performance era for this company. So we have the supercar which is launched, we've got the high-performance hatchback which is launched, and I think this is going to either work out really well, or it's going to destroy the company. But yeah, let's have a look how that goes. We'll fast forward the time now, so we go into the next month, and then we'll see if we make any profit with either of these vehicles. And we are... 100 million in profit just on the first month alone. So we do have some understaffed factories, which means we can't produce enough vehicles and engines, but that isn't much of an issue right now because we are making 100 million a month alone from just the supercar, which is making us 75 million a month. We've sold that is actually crazy. So that is genuinely insane. I'm so happy with the way that this has turned out. So yeah, let's take the 2 cars that we've made in this episode into BeamNG, give them a test drive, and then in the next episode we'll work with what we've got and further improve on the company. And here we have, well, the turbo variant of the new Promote. And honestly, I think it looks really good. I really like this sort of design around the headlights here. And the way that the grille just goes across. And I think actually I could have made this little strip down here, even plastic as well, to really mark out all the different sections of that front end. But yeah, I think it turned out really nicely. And yeah, I mean, let's give it a little drive and we'll see what this car can do. And so here we are driving the turbo variant of the Promote, and honestly I love this car. There's just something about it because it has a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that has 250 horsepower going to the rear wheels, and it's a 4-door family car. It's just, this is that perfect blend of family and fun, which I just love in older vehicles like this. I mean, think M3, think 190E, something like that. This is that sort of car that you could have to rival those rather exquisite cars, actually. And it is very fast, very fast. Like I have no idea what. Yeah. Oh no, we're doing a lot of death. I was about to say, I have no idea where I'm going because I haven't been on this map very long. I think I've just sort of proven that to you. But yeah, I mean, from a driving standpoint, this car is very grippy, especially on the low speeds. Once you get to high speeds, you realise that the car is made to understeer more, simply because once you go at high speeds and you start experiencing oversteer, it's a lot harder to combat than understeer, because with understeer you could just slightly go on the brakes and then maybe that's a lot easier to solve than that. Because if you have no idea what you're doing, you're just going to crash, like that. But yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I mean, this car is a lot of fun, and even if I do crash it a lot, it is an absolute driver's dream, this thing. I mean, I should really learn to drive properly in this game, but I am having quite a lot of fun just pushing the car maybe a little bit too much, and just trying to see where this car really can, where the car's limits really are, because you just can't really do this in real life. If you have a crash in real life like that, you're most likely dead, so yeah, this is, I love this car. It just drives so nicely. This is a proper track day car. It's a proper, you can bring your kids to school on the weekday and go to a track on the weekend kind of car. And yeah, I mean, if only I knew how to drive it better, then yeah, it's just crashing all the time. But you know what? I'm going to blame the map for that, for my poor driving. I mean, I hope I can pull it off, but I'm going to now drive this car off-road, and if I drive this car better, then clearly it's the map. But no, honestly, I'm really happy with the way that this car has turned out, and just looking at it, you can tell it means business, just from the sheer size of everything, and I absolutely love the design of this vehicle. So let's give it a little drive off-road, and then we can have a proper look at what makes this car special. So inside of this car we have the 225 horsepower 6-cylinder engine, and it is more than adequate for a car like this. Honestly, it drives so nicely. It's just so effortless to get this car going, and you know what? I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to attempt to go really off-road with this car and see what happens. And yeah, that's gone badly already, so let's turn off the traction control. Let's lock the diffs and put low range in, so that way we can do stuff like that a lot easier. But yeah, I mean, this car is pretty much just a luxury SUV, but its actual drivetrain and the chassis of this vehicle, it's just pure off-road mastery. It has all the different traction settings, it has locking diffs, it has the option to switch from four-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive, it has a high and low range gearbox. It's just the pinnacle of off-road, of just off-road cars. And the main reason why I did that is because you may have a lot of luxury off-road vehicles, like luxury SUVs, but a lot of them aren't very capable off-road. So having a vehicle like this really fills in a demographic that I think a lot of people would enjoy, because you would have the off-road people who might look for something a little bit more comfortable to drive, Or you might have somebody who wants something expensive, something comfortable, but needs to drive off-road from time to time. This is that exact perfect car for those demographics, and I think that this car is absolutely perfect in doing what it does. But this car is so peaceful. The engine is really quiet, it's very torquey. Like, I've got 4th gear in the low range gearbox in right now, and it's got just under 1,000 horsepower, and my goodness, 1,000 revs on. Sorry, this is really throwing me off a little bit. What is this road? I mean, like I said, I've never really driven on this map, so this is all new to me. But this looks just, this is just death. This is not good. I personally would never drive on the road like this. I'm not a massive off-road junkie like some people are, which I mean, I understand why people enjoy this. It's really fun pushing a car to its absolute limits, but this is just, yeah, I need that speed. And I mean, as much fun as this is, I will always prefer the turbo over this vehicle, but as a family SUV, this is perfect as a family SUV. I mean, you have the all-wheel drive, which gets you everywhere pretty much, but you also have the big comfort of the vehicle. Why did I choose a road like this? I mean, I'm as confused as you are. Oh. Because, honestly, I have no idea how to drive these roads. I don't know if I'm driving them well or not. I mean, I'm getting through it. I'd like to say that I'm doing well, but it's just constant sliding around and trying to figure out where to put the wheels next. So, but yeah, I mean, the fact that this car is pulling through all this is astounding, because these are some roads that I would never think a normal car could do. Like, I don't think any normal car would ever be able to drive a road like this. So it's just crazy to think that an SUV, like a luxury SUV like this, is doing this effortlessly. So hats off to this car, honestly. It's absolutely amazing to drive. This is crazy, honestly. Just the way this car is able to just like, genuinely, it's just, you don't really need to do much. You just need to put the wheels in the right direction, give it a little bit of throttle, and the car will just do the rest. It's just incredible. This car, genuinely, it's astounding how good this is actually driving off-road. So I believe over here, if I remember correctly, there is a little way you can get down to the road. I mean, we didn't flip. It's doing its thing. Let's put it in reverse, drive out, and there we are, we're back on the road. Honestly, this car is just so much fun to drive. And once you're done with that, you could just drive this car on the road like an absolutely normal car again. Like, you know what, I'm beginning to slowly understand why cars like this are so much fun. Is you just do the most extreme stuff in the car and then you can just drive it home again. I do really like this car. I mean, all the cars that this company's made so far, especially since the Japanese takeover, have been above and beyond what I ever imagined this company would be able to make. And I'm just so happy with the outcome. Especially when cars like this are there tearing up the off-road world. We've got the supercars tearing up the tracks. We've got the hyper hatchbacks, just absolutely monsters of a car. And then we have the Remote, which is a performance family car. And then it just makes the lineup feel so complete, because you have something for everyone, as long as you like cars. But no, seriously, this is such a nice car, and I'm so happy that we finally managed to round out the lineup in this way. But yeah, you know what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end the episode. It's been an absolute pleasure making this episode for you once again, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Take care, and bye-bye!